Chapter 1. Innocence Lost. Late Spring, 1795. A hard tug on my fishing pole jolts me from my slumber. Another tug. "Adrian, wake up!" I whisper as I tense, waiting to jerk the pole with the next tug. But there's no need, as the pole nearly flies from my hands. I give Adrian a kick and hold on tight. "It must be a big one!" I shout. Now fully awake, Adrian grabs his net and wades into the river. "Jean-Luc, start walking your line back. I'm ready," he says excitedly. Slowly, I inch my way up the riverbank, struggling to maintain control over whatever is on the other end of my line. "I see it!" my friend shouts. "It's a huge salmon! Move back a little more while I try and get behind him." I sense the giant fish's panic as it lashes one way, then the other. It's almost impossible to hold onto my pole. "I'm holding steady against a tree!" I shout. "Am I far enough away yet?" "Yes!" Adrian cries. "I'm waiting for it. It's going to jump. Hold steady. Hold steady. Got it!" Dropping my fishing pole, I rush to Adrian's side to admire my catch. Adrian knocks its head with a rock. The fish continues to flail and nearly gets away. Adrian hits it again. The fish flicks its tail one last time, then lies motionless. After tossing our lines back into the water, we both slump to the ground, momentarily exhausted. We let the afternoon sun give us its warmth, while the cool breeze coming across the water tempers the heat. "I hope I catch one too," says Adrian. "Vati needs fresh fish for his butcher shop. He can't seem to get enough meat. He says the revolution is causing so many problems." He pauses. "Listen," he says in a low tone. "Do you hear that?" I climb up onto the bridge and stretch myself up to see farther. "What is it, Jean-Luc? What do you see?" The groans and creaks become louder. Then there it is. A man driving a wagon loaded with something that towers above him. I scurry down to my friend, wide-eyed. "It's a wagon, carrying something big. Quick, get the fishing equipment, and I'll grab our fish." We hide the fish and our equipment behind nearby bushes and creep up to a viewing spot hidden under the bridge. The horses drawing the wagon plod nearer, and the wagon wheels protest each turn as if in pain. "What is that?" I whisper anxiously to Adrian. The wagon bed is filled with a large, odd-looking monstrosity that I've never seen before. 2 tall beams, more than twice the height of a grown man, sprout from a heavy-looking wooden base. Another beam tops these 2. Dropping from this top beam is a rope on a pulley, attached at the bottom to a slab of wood. A glint of metal peeks out near the middle of the bottom slab. A skinny, tall young man is driving, sitting erect and staring straight ahead. "Look," whispers Adrian. "He's wearing striped pantaloons like the one Monsieur Renard wears. My Vati doesn't like Monsieur Renard. He says mean things about Germans and Catholics. When he leaves our butcher shop, I've heard Vati swear under his breath. Damn Jacobin, whatever that means." The man quietly hums a tune as he drives past. I can't make it out, but it sounds very somber. He repeats the haunting tune over and over, sending a chill down my spine. Tied to the back is a tired-looking horse, trudging forward as the wagon rattles along. We peek around the side of the bridge and stare at the contraption until it is out of sight. "What do you think that was?" I ask, feeling a tightening in my stomach. "I've heard people at our inn talk about terrible things in Paris. They use a machine to punish people who oppose the New Republic. They say it slices off their heads with a single stroke. Do you think that was one of those things?" "Maybe," Adrian replies slowly. "Customers in the butcher shop talk about awful things happening in the capital too. We're lucky we haven't seen them here and that Paris is so far away. Maybe the new leader sent this man in his wagon. Is it coming for someone in Colmar? Adrian shrinks back down into the brush, recoiling from what this thing may be. Seeing his fear gives me chills. We'll see if he's in Colmar when we go back home tonight, I say. But first, let's catch another salmon. Over the next few hours, thoughts about the strange man and his cargo slip away. We get lucky and snare 2 more fish. I smile at Adrian. Our fathers will be pleased. When we're not wrestling with giant salmon, we pass the time playing dominoes. After I beat Adrian for the 4th time, he flings the wooden tiles into the air. "Why do you always win?" he says sullenly. "Tomorrow we play pick-up sticks. I can beat you at that." Fine. I think to myself, I'll let him win tomorrow. My gift for his 9th birthday. The edge of the sun begins to touch the hills, and we collect our gear and fish for the trudge home. The fish are heavy, slowing our progress. Coming up to our village, we hear shouts coming from the central square. We quicken our steps to see what's happening. Crowds of people fill the square, extending all the way up to the far end, bordered by the river Loch. St. Matthew's, the Lutheran church, sits on the north side, and St. Martin's, the Catholic church, lies up the street from our inn on the south side. The crowd is especially thick on the cobbles in front of St. Martin's. "Look," says Adrian, "that's the wagon." We approach carefully. Adrian's father spots us and summons in German to come to him quickly. My papa joins us as well. The 2 of them look worried. After we reach the safety of our father's presence, I recognize the man who was driving the wagon. He's standing on it and shouting at the crowd, gesturing wildly. Flanking him is a contingent of armed men. Standing before this man is our village priest, stooped over and on his knees, his hands clasped in prayer. His body rocks back and forth. One of the armed men stands next to him. Adrian elbows me and points. "It is one of those new machines that slices off heads. Why is it in our village? And why is Father Benedict kneeling in front of it?" The man on the wagon is speaking loudly and tersely. "We must no longer fear the power of the church. The priests have enslaved you, much like the noblemen, but worse. They use the fear of God to bend you to their will. No more. The revolution will protect you. Colmar is far from Paris, but we in the Committee of Public Safety learned that this priest ignored our directives. I've been sent to deal with him." The crowd grows agitated. A few people are shaking angry fists toward this man, but most wear faces filled with apprehension or puzzlement. No one seems to know what is going on. I, too, am puzzled. Father Benedict is loved by everyone in the village. He is kind and generous to everyone, no matter their religion. Why is this man so angry with him? A contemptuous grin crosses the driver's face. "Many of you appear to condone his actions. Perhaps this is from fear of the church's power?" He turns to his men. "Seize the priest and bring him up here." People in the crowd turn to each other as they shrink back away from the guillotine. Not far from our vantage point at the edge of the square, near our family's shops, we hear a few cheering in support. Among those cheering is Monsieur Renard. The armed men grab Father Benedict. He struggles against his captors. "May God strike you down for your blasphemy!" he shouts defiantly. They drag him into the wagon, kneel him before the machine, and force his neck into the head cradle, locking it in place. The driver looks around with his arms outstretched, moving his cold, grinning gaze from side to side. "Nothing is coming to strike me down, priest. I'm afraid yours are the ways of evil, not mine." The crowd finally begins to shout horror.